I'm about to tell you something that will make you angry. There's a man who became a millionaire in his 20s, lost absolutely everything, declared bankruptcy with over $1 million in debt, and then figured out a system so powerful that it's helped over 10 million people escape financial bondage. But here's what'll really make you mad. The system is ridiculously simple. So simple that you'll kick yourself for not doing it sooner. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why most people stay broke their entire lives, and more importantly, how to make sure that never happens to you. But I need you to watch until the very end, because the most important insight comes in the final minutes. And if you miss it, you'll miss the entire point. What if I told you that the average American family is drowning in $38,000 of debt, not including mortgages? What if I told you that 78% of people live paycheck to paycheck, one emergency away from complete financial disaster? But here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. You're not broke because you don't make enough money. You're broke because you've been lied to about how money actually works. Today, we're diving deep into the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, the book that's helped millions of people break free from the chains of debt and build real, lasting wealth. This isn't just another finance book with complicated formulas and investment jargon. This is a complete life transformation disguised as a money plan. Over 10 million copies sold worldwide, translated into dozens of languages. And still, after more than 20 years, it remains the #1 personal finance book in America. Before we dive into the Total Money Makeover, you need to know who Dave Ramsey is, because his story is the foundation of everything he teaches. In his 20s, Dave Ramsey was living what most people call the American dream. He was a real estate investor with a multi-million-dollar portfolio, driving expensive cars, wearing expensive suits, and living in a beautiful home. He was making money hand over fist, closing deals, building wealth, and feeling invincible. But then disaster struck. When the bank that held his loans was sold, the new owners called in all his notes at once. They wanted their money immediately. Within a few short years, Dave lost everything. Every property, every car, every piece of his luxury lifestyle. He declared bankruptcy with over $1 million in debt. His marriage was hanging by a thread. He was broken, humiliated, and desperate. But here's where the story gets interesting. Instead of giving up, instead of blaming the economy or the banks or bad luck, Dave decided to figure out what went wrong. He spent years studying the Bible's teachings on money, interviewing wealthy people who stayed wealthy through multiple economic cycles, and researching every personal finance principle he could find. What he discovered contradicted almost everything mainstream culture teaches about money. He found out that debt isn't a tool, it's a curse. That you don't need a credit score to win with money. That the path to wealth isn't complicated, it's just hard because it requires discipline. Today, Dave Ramsey hosts one of America's top-rated radio shows, reaching over 18 million listeners every single week. He's written multiple best-selling books, built a company called Ramsey Solutions that employs hundreds of people, and his message has helped millions of families become completely debt-free. The Total Money Makeover, first published in 2003 and updated multiple times since, has sold over 10 million copies worldwide and remains one of the most influential personal finance books ever written. His message is simple but radical. It's not about math, it's about behavior. Now let's break down exactly what makes this book so transformative. The heart of the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey is his famous 7 baby steps, a proven step-by-step plan for financial freedom. Unlike complicated investment strategies or get-rich-quick schemes, these steps are simple, sequential, and incredibly powerful. They're called baby steps because you take them one at a time, in order, without skipping ahead. And here's the key. They work with human psychology, not against it. Baby step 1 is save $1,000 as fast as humanly possible. That's it. Not $500, not $5,000. Exactly $1,000. Dave is specific here, and there's a reason. He starts with something radical. Stop everything else you're doing financially and save $1,000 as fast as you can. Sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace. Work overtime. Have a garage sale. Deliver pizzas on weekends. Whatever it takes. Why? Because Murphy's Law says that the moment you start getting serious about money, your car will break down, your kid will need braces, or your water heater will explode. This $1,000 buffer prevents you from going deeper into debt when life inevitably happens. It's not enough to make you comfortable, but it's enough to handle most common emergencies. This is about quick wins and momentum. Dave knows that if you can save $1,000 quickly, you'll believe you can do the harder steps that come next. Baby step 2 is where the Total Money Makeover gets controversial and incredibly effective. It's called the debt snowball. Here's how it works. List all your debts from smallest to largest, completely ignoring interest rates. Attack the smallest debt with every extra dollar you have while making minimum payments on everything else. When that first debt is gone, take that payment and roll it into the next smallest debt. When that one's gone, roll both payments into the next one. The snowball gets bigger and bigger as it rolls downhill. Now, critics absolutely hate this method. They say you should pay off the highest interest rate first because it saves more money mathematically. And they're right about the math. But Dave says that's mathematically correct, but behaviorally wrong. Personal finance is 80% behavior and only 20% head knowledge. You need quick wins. You need to see debts disappearing from your list. That emotional boost, that feeling of victory when you pay off that first credit card, creates momentum that math alone can't generate. When you're trying to climb out of debt, you don't need sophisticated algorithms. You need hope. You need to believe change is possible. And nothing creates belief faster than watching debts disappear one by one. This method has helped millions of people become completely debt-free because it works with human psychology. Think about it. If you owe $50,000 spread across multiple debts, that's overwhelming. But if you can knock out a $500 medical bill in 2 months, suddenly you feel powerful. You feel like you're winning, and winners keep winning. Baby step 3 is build a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. Notice expenses, not income. Once you're debt-free except for your house, it's time to build real security. If your household expenses are $4,000 a month, you need $12,000 to $24,000 sitting in a boring savings account doing absolutely nothing except giving you peace. This is your financial foundation. With this cushion, everything changes. You're no longer living in fear. Your boss can't intimidate you because you have 6 months of expenses in the bank. Your car breaking down is annoying, not catastrophic. A medical emergency is stressful, but it won't destroy your life. This is what financial peace actually feels like. Most people have never experienced this in their entire lives. They've always been one emergency away from disaster, but not anymore. Baby step 4 is invest 15% of your gross income for retirement. Not more, not less. Exactly 15%. And only after you've completed steps 1 through 3. Why not more? Because you still have other goals, like paying off your house and saving for your kids' college. Why not less? Because your future self deserves to retire with dignity, and 15% consistently invested will make you a retirement millionaire. Dave recommends good growth stock mutual funds with long track records. He's not about day trading or cryptocurrency speculation or trying to time the market. This is boring, consistent, automatic wealth building. Set it and forget it. The math is absolutely stunning. If you invest 15% of your $50,000 income from age 30 to 65, assuming a 10% average annual return, you'll retire with over $3 million. Not because you got lucky, not because you found some secret, just because you were consistent and you gave compound interest time to work its magic. Baby step 5 is college funding for children if you have kids. Start saving for their education through ESAs or 529 plans. But here's the critical part. Never sacrifice your retirement for your kids' education. Never. You can borrow for college, but you cannot borrow for retirement. Love your children enough to teach them that debt isn't the only way to pay for education. There are scholarships, there's working through school, there are community colleges, there's military service. Your job is to help them, not to destroy your own financial future. Dave is passionate about this because he's seen too many parents ruin their retirement trying to give their kids a debt-free education, and then those kids end up having to financially support their broke parents later. That's not love, that's poor planning. Baby step 6 is pay off your home early. With no other debt, retirement fully funded at 15%, and college savings on track, throw every extra dollar at your mortgage. The average American takes 30 years to pay off their house. People following the baby steps typically do it in 7 to 10 years. Imagine having absolutely no payments, zero debt. Your home is completely yours. The freedom this creates is absolutely life-changing. On Dave's radio show, people call in to do their debt-free scream when they pay off their house. Grown adults crying tears of joy, screaming at the top of their lungs because they're truly free. No car payments, no credit cards, no student loans, no mortgage, nothing. They own everything. And in that moment, their entire life changes. They can take risks. They can be generous. They can quit jobs they hate. They can travel. They can help their kids buy homes. They can change the world because money is no longer their master. Baby step 7 is build wealth like crazy and give like crazy. The final step isn't a destination, it's a lifestyle. With no payments at all, you can invest massively, build businesses, create generational wealth, and most importantly, be outrageously generous. Dave says money is a tool. The goal isn't to hoard it or show it off on Instagram. The goal is to build security for your family and bless others generously. This is where you live and give like no one else. Beyond the 7 baby steps, the Total Money Makeover is packed with profound insights that challenge conventional wisdom. Let's explore the most important ones, because these mindset shifts are what actually create lasting change. The first insight is Dave's mantra: live like no one else, so later you can live and give like no one else. This means making sacrifices today that seem absolutely crazy to other people. Driving old cars while your coworkers drive brand new ones. Skipping vacations while your friends post beach photos on social media. Eating at home while everyone else eats out constantly. Working extra jobs while others are binge-watching Netflix. These sacrifices are temporary, but the freedom they create is permanent. Most people do the exact opposite. They live beyond their means now, trying to keep up with everyone else, trying to look successful, and end up enslaved to debt for their entire lives. They finance everything: cars, furniture, vacations, even groceries on credit cards. And they work 40 years paying interest to banks instead of building wealth for themselves. Dave flips the script. Be weird now, so you can be normal later. Except when you get to later, you realize that being debt-free and wealthy is actually weird because almost nobody does it. The second insight is that debt is not a tool, it's a curse. This is where Dave gets really controversial. Our entire culture says debt is necessary and even smart. Car loans are normal. Student loans are required for education. Credit cards are essential for building credit. Mortgages are good debt. Everyone is debt, right? Dave says no, absolutely not. Debt steals your most powerful wealth-building tool, which is your income. Think about it. Every single dollar you send to a bank in interest is a dollar that can't work for you. It's a dollar you can't invest. It's a dollar you can't use to build wealth or help others. The life lessons from the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey include this fundamental truth: the borrower is slave to the lender. That's not just some old-fashioned saying. It's reality. When you have payments, you're not free. You can't take career risks. You can't quit a toxic job. You can't move across the country for a better opportunity. You can't be spontaneously generous when you see someone in need. You're trapped by your payments, and the bank owns your paycheck before you even see it. The third insight is that you must budget to the very last dollar. Dave teaches zero-based budgeting, meaning every dollar gets a name before the month begins. Income minus expenses equals exactly zero. Every dollar is assigned a job: groceries, rent, gas, entertainment, savings, giving. Everything. This isn't restrictive, it's actually empowering. When you control your money intentionally instead of wondering where it went, you suddenly have more of it. The average person who starts budgeting finds $200 to $400 per month they didn't know they were wasting. That's $200 to $400 per month that can now go toward debt or savings or investments. That's thousands of dollars per year that was just evaporating before. A budget isn't a restriction on your spending. It's permission to spend. Because when you budget for fun money or restaurant money, you can spend it guilt-free knowing everything else is handled. The fourth insight is that your income is your greatest wealth-building tool. Most people never build wealth because their income is already spent before they even earn it. Payments consume everything. Car payment, student loans, credit card minimum payments, furniture financing. By the time they pay everyone else, there's nothing left to invest. But once you eliminate debt, suddenly your income is freed up. A person making $50,000 per year who is completely debt-free is wealthier than someone making $150,000 with huge payments. Because it's not what you make, it's what you keep. This is why doctors and lawyers often retire broke, while school teachers and plumbers retire as millionaires. It's not about income, it's about behavior. The fifth and most important insight is that personal finance is 80% behavior and only 20% knowledge. This is Dave's most powerful observation. If building wealth was just about math, every mathematician would be rich. Every engineer would be wealthy. Every accountant would be a millionaire. But they're not, because money is emotional. It's behavioral. It's about discipline and delayed gratification and consistency. You don't need to be smart to build wealth. You need to be disciplined. You need intensity. You need to be willing to delay gratification. These are character issues, not intelligence issues. Smart people go broke all the time. Disciplined people get rich. This is why the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey works when other finance books fail. It addresses the real problem, which isn't lack of information, it's lack of behavior change. Now, let's be completely honest about the Total Money Makeover. The strengths, the limitations, and why it still matters decades later. First, the strengths. The beauty of Dave's plan is absolute simplicity. Anyone can follow it. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need to understand the stock market. The 7 baby steps are crystal clear and immediately actionable. Second, it has proven results. This isn't theory. This isn't someone's opinion. Millions of people have used this exact system to become debt-free and build wealth. The evidence is overwhelming. Third, it focuses on behavior instead of just information. Unlike books that just give you facts and figures, Dave addresses why we make terrible money decisions and how to actually change those patterns. Fourth, the intensity and motivation. Dave doesn't coddle you. He doesn't make excuses for you. He challenges you. He gets in your face and tells you the truth. That intensity is exactly what some people need to finally make radical changes. And fifth, for people of faith, Dave's integration of biblical principles about money adds deeper meaning and purpose to financial decisions. It's not just about being rich, it's about being faithful with what you've been given. Now the limitations, because no book is perfect. First, Dave's approach is very rigid. He says there's only one way, but personal finance is personal. What works perfectly for one family might not be optimal for another. Some people need more flexibility in the plan. Second, the debt snowball versus debt avalanche debate. Mathematically, paying off highest interest rate first saves more money than smallest balance first. For highly analytical people who are motivated by math, this can be frustrating. They want to optimize every dollar. Third, Dave's investment advice is very basic. Mutual funds, period. He doesn't discuss real estate investing, starting businesses, or alternative investments that might accelerate wealth building for entrepreneurial people. Fourth, he can sometimes be too harsh. His no excuses approach doesn't always acknowledge that systemic issues and genuine hardships affect different people differently. Not everyone's situation is purely about their choices. And fifth, some aspects feel dated. Published in 2003, though updated several times, it doesn't fully address modern challenges like the severity of the student loan crisis, the gig economy, or the housing affordability crisis in major cities. But despite these limitations, the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey remains massively popular over 20 years later because it addresses timeless truths. Debt really does steal your freedom. Budgeting really does work. Delayed gratification really does lead to prosperity. Behavior really does matter more than knowledge. In an age of increasing financial complexity, cryptocurrency, NFTs, day trading apps, Dave's message is refreshingly simple. Stop borrowing, start saving, live below your means, build wealth slowly and steadily. Simple doesn't mean easy, but it works. So here's what the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey is really about. It's not about money at all. It's about freedom. It's about breaking free from the chains that keep you trapped in jobs you hate, in relationships you can't afford to leave, in a cycle of stress and anxiety that never ends. It's about looking at your children and knowing they'll never have to take care of you financially because you plan ahead. It's about being able to help a friend in need without checking your bank account first. It's about sleeping peacefully at night because you don't owe anyone anything. The life lessons from the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey are simple but profound. You control your money, or it controls you. Debt is the enemy of your dreams. Small, consistent steps lead to massive results. Your past doesn't determine your future. It's never too late to start. Here's your challenge. Take baby step 1 this week. Find $1,000. Sell something you don't need. Work extra hours. Skip restaurants. Whatever it takes. Don't overthink it. Don't wait for the perfect time. Just start. Because here's the truth. A year from now, you'll wish you had started today. 5 years from now, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. But only if you start now. If this video opened your eyes to what's possible with your finances, hit that subscribe button. We're building a community of people committed to financial freedom and personal growth. Give this video a thumbs up if you're ready to start your Total Money Makeover. And share it with someone who needs to hear this message today. You might just change someone's life. Drop a comment below. What's your biggest financial challenge right now? What's keeping you from starting? Let's support each other in this journey. Remember, you can do this. Millions have done it before you. The only question is, will you be next? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.